Merkel Media.
He put it in park, threw open the driver's door, ran out the side of the car, across the front of it, and jumped right off the side of the bridge in front of me.
The only people that really pulled over were truckers.
He said, "We're going Hodge," and he didn't slow down. He went across the median onto the oncoming traffic, but where they could see him coming, they just got out of the way.
I noticed this plane was really low. It went right in front of us, hit the fence, and it spun around. 30 seconds more, he could have hit us.
But I went around that truck, and a guy stepped out from behind the truck and threw a piece of wood, and it shot through my window just like a spear and stuck in the back of the cab of my truck.
That's probably one of the stranger things I've seen.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to Hammer Lane Legends. I am
Brian Merkel.
And you are who?
Brian Shipper.
And you
Mike
are
Dre.
Johnny.
And you are
Johnny
Kilowatt. Yes.
That's gonna go over big.
Yeah.
If you have a crazy,
it's gonna be
wild,
huge.
It's gonna be huge. If you've got a crazy and wild story you'd like to share with us from the road, go ahead and contact us at hllpodcast@protonmail.com. That's hllpodcast@protonmail.com. Or go to the Hammer Lane Legends webpage. I think I said that correctly. That's hammerlanelegends.com. Hit the contact section. Get a hold of us that way. Either way works for us. Johnny Kilowatt needs some stories.
Well, I got a lot of stories.
We need some.
And share.
We do need people to send us emails. That's what we need. We need people to come on the show.
Hell, the emails just send direct text messaging to Mr. Merkel Incorporated.
What's Brian Shipper's number?
Yeah, because I'm a people person.
Yeah, you are.
I'll get back to you
You're
right
a regular
away.
old people person.
Yes, I is.
All right. Well, while you're being a people person,
Keep
tell
us
them
fueled.
about buy me a coffee.
Keep
There
us
you
fueled,
go.
keep us caffeinated. BuyMeACoffee.com/HammerLane, virtual tip jar. Follow simple prompts. If you like what we're doing, have at it. If not, enjoy it. Thanks for looking.
I heard that. Amen, brother. Well, who are we talking to today?
I don't know.
Johnny Kilowatt. Who are we talking to today?
Mr. Javon.
Mr. Javon. How are you doing, Javon?
I'm doing well.
Fantastic.
A fellow
Fantastic.
Pitt, Ohio driver.
He is a fellow Pitt, Ohio driver, and he's in studio,
Yeah,
which is, that's
somebody else found Shoemakersville.
The middle of nowhere.
it's a pretty genuine term, don't you think? I mean, this is a room. It's a bedroom. It used to be.
Do you live out like near the terminal?
I live in Allentown.
He's got to drive this.
You gotta
out
talk
to
in
here.
your
I live in Allentown.
He's got to drive this twice a day to come all the way the hell out. here in the
Yeah,
middle
I
of
was
nowhere.
like, dang, it's like
He's halfway to
far.
Harrisburg.
Yeah,
He is, yeah, like
I'm in between.
in between. I mean,
He
Yeah,
says,
it's
he
a
means
ride.
you're like two construction zones. You're deep.
I'm deep
3
in
on a
the state.
weekday.
Well, how are you doing, Javon? I mean, besides, you had a good trip out here. You got to see all the countryside out here, the beautiful Berks County.
yeah. I mean, this is my first time over here.
Yeah?
Like literally over here, like driving this far.
Literally stopped in this town.
I always just pass it, but
Yeah.
Just drive by.
Just
In other
drive
words,
by.
you blink
Yeah.
and it's gone.
The amazing thing about this little area out here is if you come down Main Street in Hamburg, you notice today everybody has all their spots along the main road saved for the
Halloween
parade.
Oh, the Halloween
And they still
parade's
do that
done.
out here. People still put their lawn chairs out and rope stuff off. That's where they're going to stand. You can't. And I just think to myself, you leave all your stuff out there on the sidewalks every Halloween.
Well, they do that every winter, too, for their parking space.
Well, that they do, but that's,
They have the lawn chair out, man. 6 foot of snow out there.
the snow pile's going to
Yeah.
save your spot for you.
You do
Don't
that
worry
in
about it.
Allentown, they just pull a chair away and throw it on the snowbank.
That's right. Good
That
luck.
is very true. That is very true. They do not
I know. I
care
lived
about
in Bethel.
spots.
We used to do the same thing.
Like that's supposed to do anything.
Yeah,
You know?
like that's going to
Oh,
stop
look,
somebody.
I got a new lawn chair and a parking spot.
Yes. They're giving away
Because
lawn chairs with the
I was
parking
the idiot.
spots.
I was the
Well, you said it.
idiot, okay, with a snowplow, and I just come push the snow in where that chair used to be and clear out somebody else's spot.
What a nice guy.
It keeps them healthy. They can
Yeah,
reshovel every
that's
day.
right.
Not much anymore. Global warming.
Yeah.
I do like that.
I'm glad
appreciate
about that.
Me too.
It's because all those electric vehicles we got.
Yep.
You're welcome.
4-wheel drive.
Yeah.
It is
You
all-wheel
are
drive.
they 4-wheel drive?
It is all-wheel drive.
There
Yeah.
you go. See that guy?
Either
My man, I had
they're
my
all-wheel
time.
drive. They got either one or two motors.
Or do they have 4?
No,
Some do.
Is there
Some-
one on each wheel?
The Rivian R1T, the pickup truck, has a electric motor on each wheel, 800 some horsepower.
Wow.
Yeah, what do you need that in a pickup truck for? I don't get, but
Why not?
because when you got to get to Home Depot, you got to get
In
to
a
Home
hurry.
I
Depot.
guess so. You got to get that lumber home
You
quick.
got
When
that
the
right.
shitter's blocked, it's blocked.
Great conversations, man.
There's
Great
another word we got to bleep
conversations.
out.
Yep. We're going to be bleeping.
Uh-huh.
Oh wait, so
Which-
you can't curse?
You can.
They tell me
But
that.
it's a bleep. Oh, you bleep it
The
out.
minor words. It's
Yeah,
like the F
minor
words are.
It's the big ones.
This
and
is a
we try.
family-friendly show.
Yeah.
It is.
Except for when Shipper's on it. Apparently.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Depends
Yeah.
on what kind of family it is.
Yeah.
Well, that's how it is in that family.
It's,
Anyway, Javon, I just found out today that Mike's been working at Pitt, Ohio longer than you've been born.
Yeah, I remember I was talking to you one night.
Oh
I I started in '97, and you laughed, and I was like, "What? What?" Like, that's when I was born,
Yeah.
and you made me feel so bad the whole night.
You hurt his feelings.
The whole- my age never bothered me, but when you said that you were born the year I started there, that hit me.
His feelings got really hurt.
I was like, "Oh my god!"
all of a sudden.
And I was past 21 when I got my license.
I was 23 when I started at Pitt, and I was like, "Oh my god." There's somebody working here now that was born the year I started. That's when you know you're getting
It
older.
is hard.
Because when I started, I was like the youngest one at
Yeah.
the terminal.
Oh, now you're one of the oldest ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
getting there.
No, he's got a little ways to go.
Yeah, I'm only in my early 50s.
Yeah.
Right.
Old farts like these two that are
It does make you feel good though when like you're standing in the break room and what's his name, Nevin comes in and he's talking and we're just talking about who started when, and Nevin goes, when did you start? So 97, August of 97. And he goes, you'd be like he's looking at the list for the city guys. He said, if you came over to the city, you'd be like number 13. I'm like, holy crap. That's
Number 13 is wild.
on the city board.
I think I'm 8 or 9, I guess, on a list, and I've been
Yeah.
there 27 freaking years.
Yeah.
I heard Tommy Moore.
I feel like I haven't moved.
Tommy Moore used to be a trainer there when I started, and he said, "Give it 5 years, you're going to be running a place." 27 years later, I'm still
He's
waiting
still not
to run
running the
anything.
place.
But Tommy Moore's gone, isn't
Yeah,
he?
he's trying their products now.
Still waiting to get my number 1 pick.
Mhm. That would be nice.
Yeah, it would be. No comment.
So anyway,
back to Javon.
right.
So
How'd you get started?
thank you, Shipper.
You're
Look
welcome.
at you taking
Yeah,
over.
your phone's fine.
He's doing a good
Professional.
job.
Yeah, not so good.
He doesn't want you to look at his phone. You're trying to read mine. He doesn't want you to
No,
read
it's
his.
gonna fall.
Yeah, nah. So
Yeah, he's-
how I started, it was my friend. We've been like friends for like
Some
at least
friend, huh?
11, 12 years now,
Booby
since we was
friends.
like in high school. And
You remember that?
No,
Two-room
I don't
school.
I know what he goes through when you pick on him.
Yeah, it's a blast.
Ooh, shit, I was down to 1.
Anyway,
Go ahead.
Javon.
yeah, nah. Anyway, yeah. So my friend, it was Career Link, and
Okay.
and he went into Career Link, and he's like, yo, I'm doing a truck driving school and everything. He said, get to it, and I procrastinated. I was like, truck driving. I was just like, I don't really want to do truck driving. I'm just like, but then I said to myself, I don't mind driving. I do like Uber, Lyft, and all
Oh, did
that.
you?
Yeah, I
Okay.
did that
Oh,
a
that's
lot.
cool.
Yeah, so I was
Just pays a little bit more a mile.
yeah.
But it ain't as much fun. I mean,
Right.
you can have some fun with those Uber people.
Yeah, no, it was fun. I mean, Uber Lyft.
We need some of those stories too, dude.
Oh man, I had stories with Uber and Lyft, but
We got all
I said-
day.
But I didn't mind. I didn't mind driving, so I said to myself, I said, all right, I'm gonna try it out. And when I did, I procrastinated at first, trying to get my license. He was like, yo, why you not doing it? I'm just like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. But I was always lazy, procrastinating on things. So I finally did it, and I went to school. I was like, it was 4 people in my class at the time.
Did you go through Career Link or?
Yeah, I went to Career Link.
They split the
They made me do a lot of
L-Tri-C.
tests. Yeah, they made me do a lot of tests. I had to find a school,
Mhm.
which was McCann. and everything. And I mean, I did everything I had to do. I talked to I guess it would be the counselor there or the recruiter.
Like a
The
recruiter.
recruiter, yeah.
Yeah, recruiter. And she actually skipped me. I was actually supposed to start in like January or something like that. No, not January, February or something. And she skipped me to go in December, like literally right there, because I got everything done. So I was like keeping in touch with her, letting her know that, oh yeah, I finished this section for the permit. I finished this section. I finished this one, and I finally got my permit. And she was like, okay, cool. She said, now you got to go get your blood work done. I mean, your test,
Right.
Physical.
yeah,
Yeah.
physical and all that. And I was like, okay. So I went to go get that. And then she just skipped me in front of, it was like 3 people ahead of me or 4 people ahead of me. And she was like, oh,
You're in.
yeah, you're in. And I was just like, oh, you're going to skip everybody else? She's like, don't worry about it. She's like, literally said, don't worry about it. I was like, okay, cool.
Well, I ain't saying anything.
Yeah. And so I went in, and so we had to be in class for at least like 3 days. And then we go on to the yard, whatever you want to call it. I forget what they call it exactly.
Yeah.
But after that, they teach us how to stick shift. It was stick shift. So it was like, if you want to learn stick shift, that's fine. And if you want to do automatic, that's fine. But me, I said, I'm going to learn stick shift because I don't want to limit myself just in case.
There you go.
Wow, you're a rare breed.
Yeah, yeah.
Everyone
A forward thinker.
Yep.
Yeah. So I did that. They was teaching us, the instructor was teaching us. One of our instructors actually quit. Like, I guess it was because one of the guys was like doing so bad and he just wasn't getting it. And it just made him quit. He just got mad. He quit.
Enough of that.
Yeah, so
That's why I'm not a trainer anywhere. Nope.
Yeah,
I'm
so
out.
it was funny, but he was young too, though. He was young. He was working at, I think, some other place. I don't know where exactly. But so after that he quit. I went on for my first time ever going on a stick shift. I actually did good upshifting.
Yeah.
Like really good. Like everybody else was scared. They didn't want to do it at first. I was just like, man, I'll do it. I was just like, if I mess up, I mess up.
Right.
That's it.
So I did it. I was good at it, at stepping up, upshifting and all that. But downshifting, I was terrible. Like terrible.
That's a rougher one to do.
Yeah, I was really terrible. I was
Trying
just
to
like,
find that RPM,
that's what I didn't understand.
Egg in the gas.
Yeah,
I didn't understand.
exactly. Egg under the gas pedal.
Yeah, I didn't understand the 10 RPM. Like at 10, you
That's what
downshift
you-
and
right.
stuff like that. But now, don't get me wrong. I didn't know about floating. I used to double clutch.
Right.
Well, that's what they teach you.
They just
Yeah.
want you to get through.
Yeah.
And they want you to learn what you're going to have to do when you take your test. When you're sitting there with the state,
Mhm.
I guess
Yeah,
it's
the
still state
examiner.
troopers. Yeah, the examiner.
Examiner, yeah.
Examiner, yeah, you're going to have to.
So, with that being said, we did our parking, we did the upshifting and stuff going around. I had this instructor called Frank, and he was good, like really, really good. He used to basically drive us around where maybe we not even gonna go for the test. You know what I mean? So he just used to make sure that we was ready, and so.
Well, yeah, I think you'd actually, sitting on this side, I think you'd actually want somebody like that.
Yeah.
That has experience. Not that it's just the textbook, teacher, instructor that you need to know this, and this.
Yeah.
Everything else you'll learn later.
But that's what most schools are now. They
Yeah,
it
just
is
enough
true.
to pass the
Just to
test.
get you
and
through.
get you out the door.
I mean, what was it, like a 3-month course or something you had to take?
So I did the weekend. So
Oh, okay.
I did on a weekend, so it was 2 months.
Okay.
But it's usually a month if you want to do it every day.
Right.
Monday to Friday, that is. So, yeah. But yeah, after that, I learned. Obviously, I was one of the best in the class for not
There you go.
not knowing stick shift.
Right.
And
so you
That's
never drove a
fantastic.
manual before.
I never drove nothing.
Not even in a car.
Not even
Not
a car.
your car.
I can't imagine learning
Yeah.
that as your first.
Go big or go home, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally. So yeah, and also I used to work at XPO at the
Okay.
time when I was in class, and with that I used to go around since I had my permit, they didn't really care too much about me going around
The yard.
The yard.
Mhm.
So that's what I used to do to try to practice
Right.
my
That's good.
up
Got it.
clutch too.
Yeah.
But I was only going like 15 miles per hour. So
Right.
Yeah, they frown on you doing 55 in the yard.
yeah, I mean, like,
that probably
Orange
gave you the
vest or
most-
not, you're going to hit something.
That probably actually gave you the best experience though, because that's what they
Yeah.
did with Pitt. Because I got my CDL through Pitt, Ohio. When I started at Pitt, I didn't have a CDL, but I drove a box truck before there,
okay.
and they just let you drive around the yard and back trailers in on a Saturday when no one's around, so you can't kill anybody. But they just say back it in the door, then drive around the building, back it in the same door. Then they'll give you you just get good just driving around the yard because the backing and learning how to maneuver, that's the hardest part of the job. Driving in a straight line, obviously seeing some of the truckers that are out there now,
Yeah, he's,
any idiot can do it.
prime.
Well,
You know.
I don't know. I don't know, Mike. It don't seem to be that
That's
common
true.
of a skill.
Yeah.
You know, it's a
That's
straight
true.
line, but
It's a straight line with the
Sort of.
laptop going at night.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's
Put
fine.
up on the dashboard. Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. So, you know, I went for my test on February of like 18th or something like that, and I passed my first time. Like I went, but
at you
I actually,
going. That's
yeah,
awesome,
I actually
dude.
got saved though. I actually got saved. The instructor that was with me, he was like, I was out of gear for a little bit, and it was a red light, then it was a green light, then it turned green. But I got out of gear because I was ready to you know, stop.
right.
And he was like, "Oh, maybe put it into eighth or ninth." He's like,
You want to put that thing back in there, Earl?
"Yeah," because I was kept on trying to go to seventh or something like that, based off my miles per hour, but not the
Right.
RPM.
Not the
Right.
yeah.
And he was like, "Maybe put it to seventh, eighth, or ninth or something." I'm just like, "It's like okay." So I just put it and it just clicked. And I was like. I was like, because they said if you know you're out of gear for so long, it's an automatic fail. And I was doing good. I was doing so good. I was like, all right, just let me make sure I'm doing this and doing that correctly. But you know, because I was driving, you know, with my instructor, I was doing so smooth. It was like so smooth. I was going into my gears, and then you know I was nervous. So
Yeah,
That's
of
it.
course.
it happened.
That changes
Of
everything.
course.
It's like, you know, it's like going to get your blood pressure checked. You know,
Exactly.
You're fine at home. You go there, and all of a sudden, you know, your blood pressure's
Yeah.
500. You know,
160 over 183.
Yeah, I used to practice a lot. Like even the hardest part I think it was knowing everything in the truck, because you literally have to know everything in
Right.
the truck. And so it was at a point in time when I was doing my test and it was in idle. It had the idle real quick, and I knew everything in the truck. So he never opened the engine, and he was like, yeah, actually, I can name you everything in the truck without even opening it. And then he's like, you sure? I was like, yeah. I was just like, he's like, so what's this? I was like, well, this is this. There's no cut abrasions, you know, no anything like that. He was like, this, that. I was like, that's that, that's that, that's that, that's that. And he was just like, okay. And then he went over, and then he's like, oh, well, listen, I know that you know everything, but I gotta open it up just in case DOT come by and then doesn't see you open. I was like, okay, that's fine.
Plus, a lot of that too is when the instructor, you know, the examiner is doing your test, and they can kind of see that if you actually know what you're talking about, or you know, it's just some actor trying to play the part. You know,
If you're trying to fumble and
Right.
you don't know how to
If you-
open the hood,
yeah.
maybe he never opened this before.
You might want to open the hood a couple more times, and let's start naming some, you know, items on the engine here.
Yeah. So that was that, and then you know I went through the trailer and everything. So we just waiting until the idle was done, and then that's when we went on the road and everything. Oh, and then the end cap too. I forgot, you got to know everything in the end cap.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did they still do the slab test?
Just lap test was that?
No. That's what I was taught it was.
What's a
What,
slab
the
test?
brakes?
Yeah, when you the brakes, you know, you
Oh, the bleed down.
static, yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. We had
Yeah.
to do all that.
No, I didn't know it's slab
Static,
test.
yeah,
It
I
just
didn't-
leak,
Never.
alarm button, slab.
Yeah, the only
okay.
you
thing.
went to a class. I just had a sign.
I
The
I
only
got trained in the yard.
I was grandfathered in.
I got trained in the
He's
yard
old
by
enough.
other pit drivers. And they ain't call it anything.
Oh yeah, I mean the only thing I got grandfathered in for was parallel parking. I didn't have to do that.
Really?
Yeah. So
That sucks.
so what happened was at first they, you know, back then they had the parallel parking.
Right.
Then they took it away, and then they bring it back again.
After
but-
you took your test?
Yeah. So they after I took my test, they was just like, oh, next year they're gonna bring it back, and they was like, y'all okay because y'all grandfather in, so it doesn't
Wow.
matter. So I'm just like, I was like, cool.
One
Cool
less
on
thing
me.
you gotta
Yeah,
worry
you
about.
got that right.
But it didn't look that bad from what I seen.
No,
you know?
give it a
Right.
shot.
Yeah.
That's all I can tell you.
No, I
Give it-
don't want to.
give it a-
I don't want
give
to.
it a
Not
whirl.
as easy as you would think,
Yeah.
because I
Blind side and sight side, I had to learn because I went to school.
see, I know I don't mind out of practice because every once in a while I have to pull in the rest area up there on 84 going up
Yeah.
there, and kind of tight. And
Kinda,
it's like,
yep.
I should be able to parallel park in there, and I'm looking like a freaking rook. I'm like, no, I got to pull up. I was like, screw it, I'll go down to the next one where I can just.
And
pull
this
in.
is why it takes him so long to do that run.
There you go. He's
Huh?
pulling over.
He's
and
pulling
taking-
over.
Yeah, he's
You keep the door shut.
Just have a Gatorade bottle in there, I guess.
I don't need no
You and-
Gatorade bottle. Just
you and
go
Woody.
and back, turn around, flip, go.
you and Woody.
Well,
Just keep that Gatorade bottle.
not me.
Anyway,
That thinks
Yeah,
after a while.
So yeah, that's what happened there. That's how my
That's
test,
awesome.
That's how my
That's
test
good.
went. That's how my career started, basically.
Right.
Well, not
Fantastic,
career
dude.
started, but that's how I got my license. And it was cool. I was hyped. I told my job at the time, XPO, that I might not come to work because but then I said to myself, I was like, yeah, let me just go to work. So it was early and everything, so I thought it was gonna be like a longer time.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Doing a test and
Right.
waiting and
So what you were working on the dock at XPO? Or?
yeah, I was working on
okay.
a dock. I was a dock worker. So then I was supposed to actually work for XPO. So I was ready to transition over.
Right.
So
So they didn't have, like we have here,
Training
the
program.
apprenticeship program where they would actually pay for all your, currently not.
yeah.
'cause
So they
They
did.
didn't train
So
him, yeah.
so the funny thing is, right? I was working at XPO for like 3 years. They was talking about it maybe my second year into XPO that they're gonna do classes and stuff like
Okay.
that. And they kept on talking about it, but
Talk's cheap.
yeah, talk
Yeah,
is
it
cheap, right? And finally, when I actually went for my CDL, they actually started doing it. So they did like maybe 3-4 classes,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, but it was all automatic. It was never manual.
Okay.
So I was just like, but then you have to give them like 2 years of your
Okay.
of your
your
Yeah,
life.
you have
your
to
life.
commit.
Yeah, you had to commit for 2 years
Yep.
for them
In
to pay
Ohio
you
was
back.
3 years. That was
Was
a
it
3-year
really?
contract I had to sign
Wow.
when they trained me.
And you're almost done now.
That was done a long time ago.
But yeah, that's what they did, and I was just like, wow, now y'all do that now. But it's okay because I was like, I got my manual license, so it's all good.
Right.
Right.
And then I was supposed to transition over and everything, but so the terminal manager at the time, he basically tricked me and other dock workers because we're allowed to clock in. Well, we started at 12, let's say 12 o'clock, and he said we're able to clock in 7 minutes earlier, but we don't get paid for that 7 minutes. So, but you're able to clock in. So I clocked in, right? It was a store right across the street, so it was like it's a short street. It's not like a long street, whatever. And I went across the street, got a drink, came back. It was like 58, right? And I'm thinking I'm on time. I'm there scroll. I'm just walking in and everything. He said, I was looking for you. I'm just like, looking for me now at 58.
Yeah, I got 2 minutes, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
So he's like, yeah. He's just like, oh, where's your badge? I was just like, in my pocket. And then he goes, oh, did somebody clock you in? I was like, nah, I clocked in, I left, and went to go get a drink. I'm coming back, and he's like, oh, you can't leave. I'm like, what do you mean? I was just like, you told us that we don't get paid until it's not like I'm still in company time or anything because you
Right.
told me I don't get paid. You told all of us that we don't get paid.
Right.
And his name, I'm not going to drop his name, but he was I guess he was cool. He was cool, but this is the crazy thing. I was working at KDP, which I was a forklift over there for like a year and some change. And he was actually one of the managers, like TM over there. So he left from there because he was about to get fired.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And he came over because he knew someone in higher management at XPO. And now I just heard that he got fired over there. They left, like they fired him,
Wow.
like off the premises and all that. But yeah, he told me that, and and I was ready to switch over. Like I literally had maybe a week. This last week, I was on my last week, and then I was supposed to transfer over the next week, go train, because I already did part of my training period, and that's when I was going to get my endorsements later and everything
Right.
like that, because I didn't have it at the time. And he said to me, he was like, "Oh, you stole company time, you're fired, and everything." And I was just
How are
like,
you stealing company time if you aren't getting paid for it?
Right.
exactly. So
the thing I can think is, if they consider you clocked in, you're on company time, even though per se it's within that 7-minute window. I mean, that's the only thing I can figure out.
right. So what I was told later on, maybe a year later, or 6 months later or whatever, I was told that you actually do get paid. So he lied to me. He lied to everybody else.
Wow.
And
And by you walking off the premises to go get a drink,
that's still
Yeah.
in company
Yeah.
time. And I didn't know
Wow.
that. You know, it
Yeah.
was it was something I
That's
didn't know. It was something you told me something different.
Right.
And so you lied, and then you just, but see, the thing was, the HR lady was his friend. They was friends outside of work. You know, it was him, the ex terminal manager at the time. Well, he was a acting terminal manager at the time until this one came. And they was all friends. So they hanged out.
Yeah, it explains a lot, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
So, and the supervisor, which was a lady, she's no longer there either, but she came and she didn't like me very much, you know. And she didn't like me because I don't know why, you know, but
boy, you might have asked the question, like, do I get paid or not?
Right.
yeah,
What's
like,
the 7-minute thing?
Right, yeah.
yeah,
What's
like,
the 7-minute rule?
I guess she didn't like me because other dock workers, you know, that was been there for like a good minute, was complaining about things and stuff like that. And I go, listen, if I do my work, you know, why, and you're late and you're being lazy going on smoke breaks for it could be 5 minutes, but you're going for like a good 15, 20 minutes. Why am I got to do the work that you got to, you know, like that's not right. I just like, it's the supervisor job to make sure that if you're going to have a smoke break, I say, I don't smoke.
Right.
I'm just like, so
I'm with you. I know where you're going, and
I
I'm
was
with
like,
you
I
on
don't
this.
smoke, so I don't need need no smoke.
I don't get a
break.
break just because I don't smoke.
Yeah,
What do I got to
exactly.
do? Kill my lungs?
Yeah.
All right.
Guess you got to start smoking.
Yeah. Smoke them if you got them.
Yeah, but that wasn't going to happen because I wasn't going to. So
Smart move.
yeah, I was just like, I don't
You
smoke.
buy a
so-
pack and you have it forever. You just go out. All right,
Just
I'm
light
done. Yeah, not even light it. Just hold it there.
Yeah, but I took a longer lunch though. I tell you that. I took a longer lunch. I was just like, man,
Well,
I don't
let's see. They
'cause
smoked like 7 cigarettes today. 15 minutes of
They
cigarettes.
just smoked like 3 times in one shift, and I mean, it was like at least 15 minutes for each one. You know what I mean? So it was just like
It adds up.
That's a lot.
That doesn't happen.
That's stealing time. In my opinion.
That's
stealing
stealing a lot of time.
That is
You know,
still a lot of
me,
time.
I probably spend like it's 30-minute break. I probably spend a 15-minute, and that's it. And I'm on the dock. You know what I mean, for the rest of the time. You know, because we had U line, like it was like literally just one section of just U line, and it was like at least 3 people back there. You know, doing like 20 something trucks at the time, and it was a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and I had about 7 doors I was loading. You know, so
Wow.
it was a lot. Yeah. And then see the difference between pit and XPO is that you gotta drop racks and put stuff on there and everything, because they want you to make sure you strap everything. And then now they had a new system where you had to strap it to the wall, so that takes a lot of more time too. Yeah, so they had a bunch of straps. I mean,
Because what happens because, you know, just me driving on the road at night watching XPO, they usually lay the back pump over or just let it disconnect altogether.
yeah.
Just saying.
It's some.
Those pups, though, you'd fall and they're like swinging back.
Yeah,
That
that's what I
that's
hear.
what I
Once
don't
you
wanna
crack the
drive
whip
one.
once there, and you know,
It just keeps going,
Yeah.
going. It's like, that give me one box behind me. That's all I
one
need.
long. That's it.
Yeah,
I
so
agree.
with that, right, so I got fired. I tried to appeal it, but they just said no. I really didn't know what I got fired for exactly until later on they told me still in company time. I thought I just got fired because I left the premises, And I was
Right.
just like,
Wow.
that's what they told me.
Right.
And when I had to appeal, it was a couple people, I don't know, from other terminals and stuff like that. But terminal managers always stick together.
Right.
So even though I'm trying to appeal, and the other terminal manager was like, oh, just say that, that somebody's clocked in for you. I'm just like, no one clocked in for me. I'm just like, I was told one thing, and I'm telling you this. I'm just like, I truly didn't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? I truly didn't know that was not stealing company time, because they never mentioned that. Walking off the premises, you're not allowed to do that.
Right.
I did not know that. I'm just like, but I felt that, why will you fire me for that, instead of just like probably give me a slap on the wrist, maybe suspend me for
Right.
a day or two,
Just say something.
or just give me a warning, like, hey,
Right.
listen, you can't leave the premises once you clock in. You know what I mean? No matter if it's 7 minutes before, because I know you can't leave the premises obviously when you on the clock.
Right.
But
Well, like you're saying, like, I would
start working,
I would
like,
say
work.
you're working. You say you're going on your lunch break.
Yeah.
I don't think you can book off the premises on your lunch break and then come back again.
yeah, you got to clock out.
Yeah,
and then
you got to
leave.
clock out,
Yeah.
but can you leave or not? That's
No, you can leave then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can leave then.
Yeah, 'cause
so
you're not on the
yeah,
clock.
you're not on the clock, but you got to be back in 30 minutes.
Right.
Still, right. So
Good luck.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That's hard. So yeah, that was that, and I just felt like they just was out to get me on that.
Sounds like
and
it.
it messed me up, because I was just like, I was ready to switch over. I was ready to, and I was going to be one of the top seniority guys there. You
Right.
know what I mean? At the time, because a lot of people quit or either
Right.
left or was retired at that moment.
right.
So it was like I was right there.
Yeah.
I would have been making good money.
Yeah.
Well, better money than I'm making now, but I would have been up there. And I tried to appeal it one more time. I tried to come back. I did when I was working at Central. I tried to come back, but the terminal manager now, a lot of people was talking bad about me. And these was people that I never even had an argument with. I used to help out. They used to ask. It was people in the office.
Wow.
Yeah, people in
That
the office
sucks.
was telling the terminal manager, like at XPO, that, oh, I was terrible. I'm bad influence, and everything like that. And I said, I never had an issue with you. I never argued with you.
I don't even know your name.
I didn't even know I was an influencer.
Nah, I knew the name, but I never had an argument with. You know what I
Right.
mean? It was just
That
like,
is crazy.
it was just like, I just like, and it was one person. She had a son that worked there, and she used to ask me. We used to have conversations. She used to ask me to, like, customers used to come. Some customers used to come and take their freight
Mhm.
with them, depending on who
Right.
it is and everything. And I used to help out with them, make sure they sign what they got to sign. They asked me to do it. I do it. I never said no. I tell them I do it when I finish this right here, and I get it done. But yeah, it was just crazy. So it was too much bad talk, and
Right.
he
No matter
didn't-
what you would have done, they would have just made
yeah.
a living hell
Yeah,
for
so-
you.
no, not that, because I was going to be a trucker, so I never had to deal with them. If I would have
Right.
came back, I would have never had to deal with them. So it was just more like I could literally say hi and bye, or maybe not even see them at all.
Right.
So but it was too much bad talk about me. So the terminal manager now currently, he didn't want to bring me back, just because of that. And I was just like, dang. I was like, but he was thinking about it. Like I literally had the HR headquarters talk to me and set up a date for me to come and do an interview and everything. But then once a lot of people was talking and stuff, he just said no.
Wow.
And and I was like, it sucked, because I was
Yeah,
just
that's
like,
a shame.
that's crazy, because I never did nothing to you.
If you would have been able to stay, would your seniority from being a dock worker carried into your like, if you were there for 3 years or whatever?
No,
would you-
so that wouldn't
or
have
would
carried
that
over.
just end?
Yeah,
and
yeah, it
your
would just be a
time kind of starts from when you're a driver.
Yeah, when I'm driver, and it wasn't a lot of people working line haul, line haul at the time.
Right.
So that's what that was at. Everybody wanted to work day shift.
Yeah.
So
Everybody still wants to work day shift.
Yeah,
Except
yeah.
for us.
yeah, but I heard back then it used to be different.
Yeah.
A lot different. I heard it was so hard to get into line haul. But yeah, now it's easier. But yeah, so that's what happened there.
Yeah, Mike's in.
Yeah, Mike was one of those line.
Poor
Mike was
Mike.
one of those line jumpers. Worked
Yeah.
in the city and then jumped over.
Oh, I did too. So.
Yeah, well,
what the heck?
I did that back in the
He
day.
did it
but
before me.
I did it before we were.
I was just smart to
before we
wait
were
till there was
home
no
every
more
day.
layovers. Then I
Right.
came over to the line home.
right.
Sleep in my own bed every day.
Yeah, so that was that. But then, he just said good luck to me, the former
Wow.
terminal manager, and he was nice about it. He was just like, you don't want to walk in the front instead of the back because you don't want other people to see. I'm just like, nah, it's okay. I'm getting fired. Like, why does it matter?
Right.
Yeah.
Who am I going to see again?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not
exactly.
coming back.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, after that, but I had my license, so I had
There
my
you go.
license.
That's it.
That's what count.
And that goes with you.
Yeah, that goes
Yeah.
with me. Yeah. So it wasn't the end for me. You
Right.
know what I mean? So I knew I was gonna make more money regardless of where I go.
Mm-hmm.
Being a dock worker.
New beginning.
And now look
Yeah.
at where you are.
Yeah. So
You know,
so after that, I thought I was gonna start my career there at XPO, but then I happened to look around and see, and then Central came.
Oh.
Yeah, it was NFI Central. I was trying to go for FedEx Freight. FedEx Freight was another one I wanted to go to, but they require you to have experience. And I think it was Old Dominion. I think Old Dominion doesn't require you to have experience. I'm not sure exactly now, but it was one of those. But they didn't have no openings at the time, and I think it was the pandemic.
Yeah.
Near the pandemic
COVID,
era.
They
Yeah,
didn't have openings. I thought everybody would. I thought they couldn't get enough drivers back then.
Well, this was right at the beginning.
Yeah, this was right at the beginning of the
Okay.
pandemic. Yeah, and so Central, they were there. I literally filled it out. I think let's say Monday, and
The ink didn't even dry. They were calling.
yeah, they called me literally the next day.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, all right, cool. And I was just like,
That's desperation. That's like the girl that calls you right after you get her number. Are you going to call me?
yeah,
Not anymore.
yeah, it was cool. It was cool. So I was like, yeah, I have no experience at all. So they made me do a whole month of training. I had a set pay. I think it was like 3 something. Came out to maybe 1,000 a week. And no matter what I do, I could have just sit in a truck,
Nice.
sleep, whatever. And yeah, that was it. And and I had a trainer. Trainer was cool. The first trainer, he didn't let me drive as much. But he was a cool dude. He the thing about him was it was funny because he would get on the turnpike and then tell me to drive from there, instead of letting me drive the whole way.
Right.
I'm
What's
like,
the point? You're training you. Why would
yeah,
you
like, and this was
only go the
after,
straight line.
No, this was after the fact. So he saw me drive the first time. This was the first time. So I'm thinking that maybe later on he's gonna let me drive from the beginning to the end, or just one way or whatever,
Right.
And no, he didn't let me do it. So I
I
was
wonder
just
if
like,
the toll booth threw him off, getting on the turnpike.
no. So we was going all the way to Emmilton.
Oh,
so that
Edmonton,
was his
up on
run.
80.
Yeah, that was his run every day. Emmilton, that they had. See, thing about Central, top guys literally have the same run every single day. It's yeah, and it's nice. It's
Does it
nice.
pay
for them.
good?
Emmilton pays very well, and at Central, that's one of the far runs. That one in Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh is one of the far runs too. That they would pay good if you want to do that. You're back late, but it's paid good. With that being said, I spent 2 weeks with him, and then I went to another trainer. He also did Emmilton, so I did the far.
Well, at least
runs.
you know where you were
Yeah,
going.
at least I was going. Yeah, I got used to it. I got used to it.
But
yeah.
you weren't getting the money for it.
Yeah, I wasn't getting money for it.
You
Yeah,
ain't getting paid.
no, but they
Not
only let
like
me
that.
drive like. Well, he let me drive only one way.
Uh-huh.
The other one, he was chill. He was like, "Yo, drive, go ahead." So I was driving all the time with him.
Yeah.
And he was just going to sleep. He was like, "Oh, you good? You good?" Yeah, he's just going to sleep.
Sounds like
and
a former driver. we
It
know.
does. Sounds like a roll. Yeah.
Yeah, he's just going to sleep and everything. He didn't even care. He's just, "I'm gonna go take a nap." Is that I'm watching this? I'm gonna watch my show. I was like, okay. Me and being a new driver and all, I'm just like,
And this
all
all with a day cab. I'm gonna go out the catwalk, take a nap.
right. Yeah, it's crazy. But now he was cool. he let me drive more, so I got more comfortable.
That's good.
Right.
That
And
is
stuff.
really that's really what it's all about.
Yeah, that's
you
the
know,
point
is
of a
getting-
trainer is to
right.
see how you are under all situations
and
not
allow
just-
you to drive.
Yeah, unless
You know,
it was
it doesn't-
hazmat, I didn't drive at
How
that
come?
time because I didn't have my hazmat at the time. I had none of my
that explains
endorsements.
that.
Yeah,
Yep, there you go.
yeah. So I had to get it going
Right.
on that. But my backing was terrible. My
Everybody's
backing
does
was
start when you first
my
start.
backing was. It's easier when you in school and you got cones.
Yeah.
But when you got trailers that's maybe crooked
Mhm.
and everything, and
Because the guy that backed in before you did
Yeah.
didn't do quite a good job either.
exactly.
Up at West
Oh,
Springfield,
oh my word!
they have no lines on the lot. If you're just lining up to the trailer next to you, and
Yeah.
if that guy's crooked, you
You're-
are too now.
Yeah, exactly.
You're sending it
At
all
least
down
it's
the
uniform.
lane.
Yeah. So
That's
that's what
crazy.
happened there. And so they let my last day on Friday. It was a Friday, and they was like, "Oh no, you don't got to drive out. You can just be you can be a yard jockey basically." But I had to use the tractor, you know, what I mean, to take the
Wow.
the trailers out. I probably took like 3-4 trailers out, and whatever, because they just told me to take it out. The yard jockey would put it in. So I was like, okay, cool. I spent probably like 5 hours that day just doing that. I said, hey, can I take a lunch now? I came back and they was like, oh, you done? You could go home. I was like, okay, cool. I get paid for 4 days of work,
Right.
and I only did 5 hours. So I was fine with that.
And it was a Friday.
Yeah, and it was a Friday.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It was a Friday. It was
I
cool.
know.
Yeah.
You're preaching to the choir here.
Heard that.
Yeah. So then, going on, learning away, learning on my own. I got lost my first time, a couple of times actually at driving.
It's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Exciting's the word.
Man.
It's one of the
I
words.
I went through some tight streets. Like I almost hit a mailbox because
That's a
it was
pretty
so
tight street.
Yeah, and I don't think I was supposed to drive on that street though. But my GPS, my truck GPS was telling me to drive on that
Oh
street.
boy,
You didn't. No cop pulled you over.
Nah, because
So you
I
were fine.
Yeah. I think it was
It's all
fine.
right.
I think it was a street that was fine. It was just really tight.
cop didn't see it. I didn't do it.
I didn't do it.
Right.
Yeah, I literally it was like a field, so I had to drive a little bit on the field just to make that turn.
What?
You know.
What wires, officer?
Yeah. So that's
Hey,
what
I
happened.
took down wires down in Cape May there. Well, not Cape May, North Wildwood.
Mhm.
I took them down.
Wow.
Cop looked at me and says, "What are you delivering?" I says,
Wires.
I says, I'm supposed to go to this street. And he says, well, what is that guy? What are you delivering? I says, all kinds of pesticides. He says, really? I said, yeah. He says, tell you what, can you call that guy and tell him to meet you out here? The guy comes out thinking he's picking up his thing.
Right.
Well, long story short, the guy was running a business that wasn't quite New Jersey eco-friendly.
Oh, wow. Oops.
It didn't have all the permits for what he was getting.
So shipper's a rat. You got the guy
How
right.
about-
No, I wasn't a rat. Okay. First of all, when I turned in, okay, the
Undercover.
chief of the fire department saw me turning down this road. Okay, when I got when he got to me, he says, "Yeah, I saw you turning in the road." He says, "I just went to the fire test station, just waiting for the call to come through." Because I mean, he was there. Like the wires went down, the call went in, and boom, he showed up.
Wow.
He says, I saw you turn down. He says, the only time you can get down this road is we have to push the wires up to let the boats, when they're docking the boats. He says, what are you, and then he asked me too. He
That's
says, what are you
awesome.
delivering? And then, he instructed the police officer. And meanwhile, I'm sitting here.
Getting paid.
I looked at it and says, well,
You're hourly.
these wires are going to be 14 feet high now. Less than 14, they're free for me. But yeah, I it's when you're lost like that, it's very easy to get disoriented and
Especially
everything
at
goes
night.
out the window because
Yep.
the first thing you're thinking, I just want to get out of here.
Yeah, you want to get out.
Mhm.
And sometimes you're digging yourself deeper.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
It's like
We're not
quicksand.
anywhere near out.
No matter what you're doing, how fast you shovel, you're just thinking just as fast.
Yeah.
Hey, truckers, ever find yourself miles from home and running low on your daily meds? Don't worry, we've got your back. Meet Refill Genie, the telehealth service designed just for folks like us who are always on the move. Whether you're crossing state lines or hauling coast to coast, Refill Genie connects you with a licensed doctor to refill your existing prescriptions hassle-free. No more detours or long waits at the clinic. Just hop online and get your meds and keep on trucking. Use code HLL for a 15% off your order. So head over to refillgenie.com and keep your health in gear wherever the road takes
well,
you.
the difference between Pitt and Central is that they have addresses. They give you a whole book. They give you a whole packet of addresses. Central, they didn't give us. It was just like, oh, you got to call, and the address was wrong. Like one time, I showed it to somebody's house. And I felt like and it was another tight street, and I felt like I was like, why am I going through these streets to this, and it's supposed to be a gas station. I'm supposed to go to,
and we have a straight truck.
So I showed this to somebody's street. They there like poking their head out the window. I'm thinking like, yeah, this is not it. So then I called and I was just like, hey, where am I supposed to be going exactly? I was just like, y'all gave me this address, but I don't think this is the right address. It's like,
I'm here, you're not.
Yeah. So it was funny, and I wind up finding where I was supposed to go eventually. But it was like, listen, anytime you go to a meetup, it's always gonna be right off the highway. I'm just like, well, that address didn't send me off the highway. It sent me all around. I'm just like, I didn't know. I was just like, but eventually I started getting it. Meetups is at the highway. So when I went to Pitt, I was like, okay, I know it's gonna be at the highway for sure. So so Central was okay for a little bit, and then some days they didn't have work, so it was some days I was off. Like it's like, oh, it's not work today.
Those days.
No, but it was on on a Wednesday, a Tuesday,
No,
a
you're not
Friday.
getting paid. You don't like those days.
Sometimes any day.
Yeah, no, they don't pay you. They don't pay you at all.
Yeah.
They say, oh, it's like no pay. So
Wow.
No wheels turning, no pay going.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's like, you don't want to have me off. I didn't request off,
Right.
So, and I said, and this was like every week at a point in time. And I told him, I said, listen, if you're going to have me off on a Friday.
Right.
What I mean? Let me choose my day I'm going to have off.
No, that never happens.
Yeah.
No, it worked at first. It worked at first. It was okay for maybe 2 times.
Right.
And then that's when they start actually having more work. But then again, I looked at the loads, their trailer loads, and it's terrible. It's so terrible. It's like the most. I sit there and I go. I worked on a dock for 1 day at Central, and I tell you, one trailer took me about two hours because everything in that trailer was done messed up, and it was cracked or it was dropped or whatever. I was like, how can you get business like that? I'm just like, you got to be selling it for so cheap for you to be getting business like that.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah.
Real free, cheap freight.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just like, but the Central owners are so rich.
Yeah.
It's like
They don't care.
They don't really care.
The trucking part of it's a tax write-off.
Yeah.
Yeah, literally, it's a tax write-off.
They own the Mackinac Bridge there, so it really doesn't
It's the
matter.
Mackinac Bridge. I know it was 2 bridges.
I think, or an Ambassador. It's one of the bridges going over to Canada.
Going to Canada, yeah.
Yeah.
They're saving money on the paints.
Right.
How do you own a bridge? But I mean, what's the money in owning a bridge? I guess the tolls to go across the bridge.
Yeah.
What?
Does it really matter?
Yeah, I own that bridge. Well,
Mario Cuomo's got one.
his name's on it.
Right.
Ask him.
But yeah, like you said, because at the time, Vitran sold to Central.
Oh god.
Okay, so they were merging us.
That's almost back before you were born.
Right. Yeah. Well, no,
About time he got into.
no. I think he would have been about 10. I
years,
apologize.
yeah. It's about 10
You would have
years.
been 10. Never mind. And I knew guys that worked over there. And a matter of fact, I think there was one guy 2 guys actually still worked there when you were there, probably. But
What's their names?
Scott Rex.
Scott.
Yeah, he was like OS&D and up in the office, that kind of stuff. And then the driver was Kenny Kratzer. But
Scott sound familiar.
yeah. Anyway, but he, I actually had to go over there. My kid somebody ordered duck decoys, and they ship. Yeah, it wasn't my kid, but I was picking it up for somebody, and my kid volunteered me to go pick them up.
Awesome.
And I went over there, and I pulled up, went around the backside with the trailer and everything, because out front there was a trailer that literally burned in their parking lot. It was still there for like a year, and
That's I think it's still there.
It's still
It's a monument.
it's still there. And I literally was watching these guys back in, and it's the very first door by the ramp and the building. And I just heard the metal crush. I'm like, well, that's in there. Helen Keller parked that one.
That trailers is bad.
Yeah.
Trailers is very bad.
And then I went around the building to the other side, and they came down the ramp. Scott come down with the ramp with the duck decoys, threw him on a trailer. I says, I don't know how you're here. And he says, it's a job. And then I actually saw Mustafa. He was the yard jockey at the time. It was flying around, and Switzer was still over there yet, I think. But it's just I was, let's just say I was glad to leave the parking lot
Unscathed.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't see the potholes.
Well, I had to strap these duck decoys down. I had to go a half mile to the house, but I needed to strap them down like they went across country just to get out of the parking lot.
Yeah.
But it was kind of like the lunar landing on the lower lot of our place.
Yeah, there you go.
That was
Yeah.
really bad.
That was beautiful.
But
The old East Windsor term.
yeah,
Were you at
the,
the old East Windsor?
no.
Oh my God! Remember when we first moved into that S-hole?
Yep.
I mean, you had to make sure you had your seatbelt on.
Yeah.
You weren't standing in the seat driving in that parking lot.
Yeah, that was a poop
But
show.
yeah,
It was bad.
I was just kind of nosy looking at some of the stuff over there, like how the heck do they drive these trucks?
Yeah.
The one guy's coming in and wiping the windshield off on the end. I'm like, well, that's a weird time to be cleaning. And the guy said, well, the defroster wasn't working. He couldn't, it wasn't defrosting. He has to wipe the window off by hand on the inside. Okay.
Well, see, one thing I tell you now about Central that their trucks is always up to date now for some reason.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, now
Now they're always
Peterbilt's,
up to date.
right?
No, they're Mac.
Max.
There's,
Oh, they got
there's a
Max.
lot of Macs. Yeah.
They got Max.
They had Sterlings for the longest time.
Yeah.
That I kept seeing.
I do remember those, yeah.
Central Freight Sterlings.
Yeah, but the trailers suck.
Yeah.
The trailers suck. They're
But I see they're, I saw a couple new trailers. So I mean,
they getting some.
everybody's got to update.
Yeah, at some point.
Yeah, eventually,
Yeah.
or go out of business.
Yep.
No, they used to say, and you call, and they used to say 21st century trailers and everything. I used to be like, y'all lying.
21st. Are you sure?
I'm just like, I just drove a trailer that was leaning all the way to the left. Like that's not.
That's like Land Air. Remember some of their
Yeah,
trailers?
exactly.
Yeah.
I hooked up to one at 40,000 in the box. I hooked up to one, and all of a sudden I hear there's crunching, and I look out. The trailer is this far off my tires. The whole plate underneath was so rotted out.
Wow.
My fifth wheel was stuck up into the thing there, and they said you could take that. I was like, no. They were mad at me that I wouldn't take it. That's why they're not in business anymore. But their trailers were so bad they never took care of nothing.
Wow.
I couldn't even get unhooked from that damn thing. They had to bring the forklifts out to help get
yeah.
the trailer up because the fifth wheel sank
It's
so far up
embedded,
into the rotted
Right.
whatever
The
that
heck?
bulkhead plate or whatever. It was
Right.
just corroded away.
Yeah, that's the kingpin plate.
Yeah. Well, when I finally did get out from underneath it, the kingpin was bent to the back. It was it wasn't like straight down. It was bent to the back. And
Nice.
that was a trailer that was in use.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah,
That's
like you said, they
crazy.
did have challenging equipment at times.
Yeah. But now I don't know how they are now. But also, their how their vacation times are and stuff like that. It's terrible. Like based on seniority, you got to be there for 5 years just to get top pay. Their pay.
Wow.
Yeah,
What's
I was
the
just
top
like-
pay? But what did it top out at? Just curious.
They
When you were there.
get paid by route. So
Yeah.
So
And the route
Wow.
is by zip code.
yeah.
Yeah. It's
Wow.
Yeah.
It's not
it
even
could be-
mileage. Zip
well,
code can
it's the
cover it
mileage
pretty.
between
Zip code to zip code.
So, like for me,
not place to place. Zip code to zip code.
18020 or 18064
Mm.
might be 150 miles, okay, by zip code. But till you get to the end of 18060, you're another 13, 14 miles down the road.
Yeah.
And you got to turn around and come back. Well, now you just lost 28 to 30 miles.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then some spots, some routes, what you get paid a little, maybe a tiny bit more than the other route. You know what I mean? It could be like,
Depending on the area that it's going to.
yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Like if you're running in
Yeah, and
New York
it
or
would-
whatever.
They used to be forever. You're up there by Brookville or something. All right, and I'll take that into Brooklyn.
Wow.
Oh, I never did that. I never did that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I drove in, in a city.
Yeah.
In New York, but yeah, it was like that. So the pay was like really bad. I was like scraping at the bottom. I was at the bottom, so it's like, come on now.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah,
How long were you there total?
a year and maybe 3 months. I think maybe a year and 3 months until I came over to here to
Oh,
Pitt,
okay.
Ohio. And the crazy thing is, I was talking to Brian. Yeah, Brian, right? Yeah, Brian.
Brian Whalen?
I don't know. There's a lot of
Whalen,
Brian's here.
Whalen.
Okay.
Whalen.
There's 2 Brian's sitting right here, and there's like
Yeah.
10 more at the terminal. Can't
Yeah,
keep
nah,
them
Whalen.
Popular name.
Really, at the time, I was like, I kept on calling him because I was calling FedEx Freight, I was calling Pitt, Ohio, and Old Dominion.
Old Dominion.
Yeah. So, but FedEx Freight was my number one. I wanted to go to. Pitt, Ohio was my second, and then the Old Dominion was my third.
Mhm.
Right. But so I kept on calling FedEx Freight. It was this person called Dan. He works in Bethlehem. He was in Bethlehem Terminal, and he didn't have nothing. He said he still got people on layoff and all
Yeah.
that. So I was just like, all right, cool. I called Brian. Brian says, oh, I don't have no people. I still got people off too, on layoff. And then they came back, and then eventually he said, listen, so I kept on calling every day. So he started to know my name. So I was very persistent with him.
Right.
And eventually he called me and tells me, oh, is this Javon? I was just like, yeah. And he's like, this is Whaling. I was just like, oh, okay. I was like, what's up? I was like, I said, how you doing? And then he's like, I'm doing well. A position open for line haul. You say you wanted the line haul or city? I said line haul. He's like, yeah, position open. I was just like, okay, cool. He's just like, I was like, all right. He said it's gonna open up. He didn't say it came yet. He said it's going to open up. He said once it open up, go on Indeed, fill it out. So I already had like my information on Indeed,
Right.
so I just pressed copy paste.
Send.
Yeah, send. That was it. And I was like, yeah, I'm done. And then he's like, okay. So he said, I'm gonna set an interview up, and that's what happened. So then we went over the pros and cons. Basically, it was basically I went in knowing that I maybe had the job already, but he was like, to make sure that I want the job. It
Right.
was just like, let's go over the pros and cons. He said, how much you getting paid at Central right now? What you're gonna be doing over here? Like, so we went over it, and it's more beneficial for me to be over here at Pitt than Central. And he was just like, but listen, I'm not gonna lie to you. You're gonna need to get in before June. I'm just like, why? He's like, well, if you get in after June, you're not gonna get a week of vacation.
Your vacation changes.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know.
Yeah,
I started in August.
Yeah.
And then, so at that time, I was like, oh man, I wish you would have let me know sooner. So I was just like, because I didn't want to like leave Central and like not be able to ever come back just in case purposes, never know.
Why burn a bridge if you
Yeah,
don't have
exactly.
to?
I didn't want to. That's exactly what I said. I didn't want to burn a bridge. So I was like, so you need to pay in your 2 weeks at least. I was just like, he's like, well, he said put in 2 weeks and see. And I was just like, so I did put in my 2 weeks. I told Central, and I probably worked maybe 2-3 days.
I was gonna say, and if anything by Central, once you told them you were leaving, they were ready to
They
say
were
goodbye to
planning
you
your-
in
yeah.
3-4 days.
Yeah, like the only reason once he put it in, and then he went to headquarters, like Alex, he's a TM there, from what I know, but he's a TM there, and once he put it in, he calls me. I think it was on Wednesday. I told him Monday, and then I went on Wednesday. He calls me before I thought I was gonna work. And he goes, oh, so we talked to the headquarters. They said, you good, like you done. I'm just like, oh, because he said we don't really have work like that for everybody. So since you're gonna be leaving,
Right.
you can just
You leave now.
leave now, basically, yeah. And I was like, oh, okay. Well, I mean,
freed you up,
am I still good? Like, if I wasn't able to come back or something? He said, yeah. I was like, oh, okay, cool. So I was good for like 3 days, and then I started Pitt, Ohio, and I was just like, then I had to go over to Hazleton for my training over there. and but I had to work I worked the dock after I went to Hazleton. So I was at Hazleton. It was a guy. He did the long run over there. I forget his name, but he was cool. I think the first night he was like, "Oh, you good? You can drive. You good? Like you're just here
Right.
at this point." I was just like, "Oh, okay, cool." I mean, working at Central really like got me going on how to do things, and because the trailers was messed up, so you had to learn different things. So I was on a fly. Like I ain't gonna lie, I was probably on a road a lot, breaking down because of tires, because they own their own company of tires. So they just literally just go over it. That's it. And so they just
Why
going,
fix it? We can just send a truck out to get
Yeah.
them on the road.
We got
Yeah.
our tires.
yeah.
Don't
so,
change it here, change it there. Give Bob the work. You
Yep.
know, he's got to go out tonight.
yeah, exactly. So that was the case there, and I was just like, man, I was just like, it was crazy because every single time I start, I have to go over to the shop, like mostly every single day. It wasn't maybe 1 week I didn't have to go over to the shop, and that was like a rare week, you know. So but I had to go to the shop all the time, and the shop usually told me tricks and stuff like that to make sure that just in case I like the fuses on the trucks blows all the time. I don't know how, but
The wiring, the wiring of the
What
older
happened?
it was
trailer.
Yeah.
Mack trucks though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when
Yeah.
I came over here, I'm like, oh, the fuse is gonna blow again. They got Mack trucks. That's not the case.
Right.
It's not the case. I was just like, wow. I was like,
We'll go to
okay.
the shop, they
depends on
hand you a
upkeep.
roll of duct tape and a hammer. Here, if you can't fix it with these two, bring it
Call
back
us.
to us.
Yeah, and then the shop, they was open 24 throughout the whole shift. They
Right.
never closed. You know, here it was different. I was like, oh, they close at a certain time, so it's never like
11 o'clock, the carpet gets pulled up.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
Well,
I never-
for a
I-
while, we were 24 hours.
That used to be, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't understand because what happened if something happens and you
The word you're looking for is swing.
Swing the load or
Swing
take
the
another
load into
tractor.
another
If something
trailer.
wrong with
Oh,
the truck?
really?
Take
Yeah,
another truck,
yep.
get the trailer.
Take another red
Get
one.
it. No.
Okay.
They'll swing the
Back
load
it on the
over.
door.
Right.
okay.
Yeah.
Because believe me, I emphasize that issue out in Harrisburg because they used to have a guy
Round the clock.
round the clock.
Yep.
And they don't. He left, and they never hired anybody to replace him.
Right.
So, like, Robbie's out there in the middle of the night, you know, something gets screwed up. Like, he had a trailer that was in a door. Somebody banged a U-turn and knocked off the glad handle
Oh, nice.
off of the trailer that was in the door. Because he'd come out to me the one night, and he says, hey, he says, can you move a trailer if it's, I says, where's the trailer at? And I look, he says, you know, a 19 door, whatever. And I went over to him. I says, yeah, no, you can't. I says, I can get it out, but you're not going to be happy how I get it out. He says, you're talking about dragging it. I says, it's the only way it's coming out, or back off the
You
brakes.
knock off the blue one, you're good. If you knock off the red
Yeah,
one,
well, that's
you
what
can't
happened.
move it.
They knocked off the red one. I says, the only way you're going to move that is if you cage the brakes. And I says, I can do that. But I says, I know the company doesn't want me to do that.
Yep.
He says, no. He says, let it there. The guys will be here at 5:30 in the morning. I'm like, it's 12. He says, yeah. I got one less door. And
Wow.
the trailer sat there all night.
Yeah.
You know, and like Aaron said, you know, guy going out down said he had no brake lights on the trailer
Right.
until he backed in. You know, they came on, and Robbie says, "Get it out of here," because they're working.
Take it now.
They were
luck,
working
you know.
when I left the yard.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, and you know, I see the trailer light issues with not only some of our trucks once in a while,
Yeah.
but other trailers a lot. You know, you just kind of stay back far enough, you can watch the brake lights on the tractor come on.
Right.
And you're like,
And-
there's another one, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, like as we call them, the freight consolidation terminals, you would think somebody would be there 24 hours to eliminate the issue and the strain of putting it on the dock guy to swing the load.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because the dock guy's not planning, the dock supervisor's not planning on swinging a load. He's got his own stuff, you know, loading city trucks, and he's got to be working on trucks that are combos, you know.
Right.
You know, breaking them down to switch them out, you know, to distribute the freight around to get the other guys out of here.
Yeah.
Now you add in, you got to take all this freight and put it in this trailer, and depending if they actually cube out a trailer, as I used to say, or they just, floor load it is a big difference. You go in there, it's 24 skids, bang, done. You get a trailer that's cubed and stacked and this and that and everything else. That's going to take a little while. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. Now, how do I put this all back in this trailer?
Well, it's not as bad now. We don't do a lot of breakdown shows.
Right.
It's mostly all on skids and stuff.
Mhm.
I mean, when we first started, they wanted to break everything on down on the floor. And I mean, it was a nightmare.
You're talking to 38 biller and 42,000 pounds, and it's a 2.5-3 hour expedition to get the trailer empty.
Yep.
So that tends to be an issue.
Yeah, it does.
But they're having the same problem too. They can't find people that are actually mechanics
or that want to work overnight too,
and that want to work overnight.
I understand.
So it's a catch-22. Is as the search goes for drivers, as does same thing for mechanics. Trying to be overnight.
Yeah, but the amount of drivers that we don't have in this, country is like, okay, where's the work?
Well, right now you have to wait till after the election. Don't worry, I left you work last night. I took the hit. I went home after one Harrisburg.
You poor thing.
I went to Baltimore and that's it.
Oh, one turn to Baltimore?
Yes.
Yeah, I was talking to my brother Ling there. Out there in Harrisburg. He only had one
Your
turn.
twin?
Yeah, my twin. Oh, little Ling.
Yeah, little Ling.
He said, "Oh man, I only won Baltimore." Oh,
yeah. So
but it'll pick up. It'll pick up definitely.
Yeah, it's just when you at the bottom, it hurts a lot
it does
more.
Hurt. Yeah,
it hurts a lot more.
Yeah,
and I feel for us at the bottom.
Yep.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I've been
usually
for a while, but at the bottom, that's got to really, especially when it gets slow. We might get we only got a shorter run.
Right.
Some of these guys, if it really slow,
turn.
there ain't nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done some Baltimore turns and stuff.
I did a Lamar Thursday. I did a Lamar, and that's it.
That's it.
That's
Lamar, and that's it. Nothing before it.
Lamar, that's it.
What is that? That's like 300 miles.
No, that's two something.
It's like
it's like
really bad.
I think it's 145,
146, 145.
Yeah,
I did 176 last night.
Wow.
So
you're counting down till you can leave anyway. You don't care.
You just chilling.
Give it to the seniority guy. That's the first thing I called up. I told him, I said, "Hey, call line hall, let them know."
You ain't doing that out of the goodness of your heart. You just don't want to do it.
No, I mean, I didn't want to go to Hazelton. I hate Hazelton.
That's what I mean. You didn't want to do it.
I hear that.
I don't want to drive through every mom and pop town to get up there.
Exactly.
See, they at least this job, they never had to call off and say, "Oh, you don't got to work." You know what I mean? Even though they might give you something real
short.
Right.
Yeah.
No, all the top senior guys, if they have, if they say, "Hey, I need three line haul guys to take off," they'll start from the top and work their way down. But it'll probably never get to you because all of us, they'll take it.
Yeah. It never. I don't think it ever gets to us.
Yeah, it doesn't even get down to.
We're like 8 and 9.
Yeah, right. I don't think it even gets down to us. It's
I don't know. The last seniority guy, he had off. He had off one time.
Graham?
Yeah.
The lowest guy?
Yeah.
I wish they'd call.
Right.
That's my prayer every night. I'm like sitting there, text me, you went off. Text me, you went off.
I need the money, but if they tell me to stay home and numb, I couldn't do nothing, honey.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We're not eating next week. Well, we're just having peanut butter, no bread. Can't afford it this week.
Yeah, but my first experience at Central was okay. I think my second week at Central, I got stopped by what is it?
DOT?
DOT, yeah. They did a whole inspection.
I was gonna say, boy, they have fun.
Yeah, they did a whole inspection. I mean, I was new, so I had everything on me. I had to make sure I had everything. So sometimes, not saying I do, but sometimes I might not have everything on me. But yeah, I had everything on me at that moment. So when he's asked for my physical paper, my license, and all that, he checked everything, but he didn't do a hard check.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he didn't do a hard check.
Yeah. Don't look too close.
Because if he did, I wouldn't have known what I was supposed to do.
I'm throwing tires around. You're good.
Yeah, he just checked the tires.
Like they say in the Jersey way station, Oh, don't worry. Just sit here. We'll
That's
check the
it.
trailer
I
out
was
for you.
gonna say,
We'll,
you don't
we'll get
need-
back to you in a couple minutes.
Usually, you don't have to do anything. You just sit in your tractor.
Yeah.
And
that's
you just
exactly
let them
what I
walk
did.
around and do what they're doing.
Yeah, that's exactly what
And
I
then
did.
they come to you and they tell you what they found.
Yeah, here's the list.
Yep.
I was good. I was good. He told me to give it to my job, and my job gave me like $100 for that.
Wow.
Wait a minute. I've been inspected 4 times this year already.
You're
I ain't
supposed
never
to get
get
money
nothing.
for that.
I get paid for the hour I'm sitting there or whatever, but they ain't give me no
That ain't
$100.
nowhere near $100.
We ain't gonna get paid for that. Central paid that because how did you manage to get our trailer through?
I had one of the good trailers at that time. When I got stopped, I had one of the new trailers.
When I first came here, I had said to him, I says, you guys ever want to sell these trailers? You could sell these trailers to Central, and they'll think they're brand new.
That is
You know,
true. That is
see?
true.
Good point.
Some of our
Just
trailers
paint it
aren't the
yellow.
best
You'll be
either.
all right.
Right.
Exactly. You know, we
Yeah.
get 2 shows out of this.
Just dip it in yellow on the way out, and you're good to go.
Yellow. It's not yellow.
Well, it will be when Central buys them.
No, I mean, Central's not yellow.
Well, it's yellow. They're yellow.
They're yellow.
Yellow adjacent.
They're
they're
yellow
like
trailers.
That's the weirdest freaking yellow I have ever seen.
Yeah, you drive a newer Mac, don't you?
I drive the 23.
Yeah,
It's a newer-
it's the newer ones, right?
It's
Yeah.
When your LED lights come up on the Central tractor or trailer, isn't it a weird color at first? It almost looks like green because of the LED lights on that light on it.
I don't know. I really
Well,
don't.
check
I
it
never
out
noticed
Monday
that.
when you
Yeah,
drive.
they don't look quite yellow
Yeah.
to me. That's the
it's
weirdest.
it's a weird color when the headlights
It
hit
is.
that
Look,
color.
we talked about this last night. Yellow
did.
freight. Those
Orange.
trucks weren't yellow. They were
Yeah,
more
they were
orange,
orange.
than they were yellow.
So, yeah, it doesn't
Yeah, I
make
think
any
it should have
sense.
been vice versa.
Agreed. Yeah.
But,
Makes no sense.
I mean, you brought up a point about being at the bottom. You usually, once things are trucking right along, a lot of, when I started here, it was the same thing. Friday night was a night to make your money.
Yep.
Because all the senior crybabies took a shorter run to go home, just to take
Yeah,
it done early.
Monday to Thursday, they
Yeah, Monday to Thursday,
pedal
you're
to the metal.
Yeah, Monday to Thursday, you're like starving when you're at the bottom. But Friday's like, oh, here's a West Middlesex or here's a Buffalo.
Yeah, yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah,
So
Washington.
you just gotta.
You got to eat it.
It'll get better. Trust
does.
me.
I
mean,
realized with the bottom, like the bottom 5, maybe bottom 6 or whatever. Not Central, Ohio. they fluctuate them like so. Everyone is evenly eating. You know what I mean?
okay.
Like,
or starving.
just
But how you look at it.
Yeah, or starving.
you either all going to get peanut butter or we got steaks this
You
week.
can either look at a glass half full, glass half empty.
Yeah, so I realized about that, and I was talking to because I know everybody, well, mostly everybody at the bottom.
Well, I'm glad because we don't.
Yeah,
We don't have we used to have a list that had
Yeah.
everybody and what everybody did every night on the refrigerator.
Yeah.
I couldn't
Now,
even tell you
who's
who is past, other than you, Bowers and Schaefer. I have no idea who else is there.
Oh, nah. I have. I
The only way I know is one of the guys
Big.
was in an accident right on 309 South in the wintertime.
That was Ed. Yeah,
I think
Ed Smith.
Smith.
Yep.
But there's another Smith there I didn't know. There's 2 Smiths.
Oh.
Jim.
This system.
Well, that too. Okay, 3. The 5 keys of success, as they say.
Aim high in your steering.
Yeah,
Aim
I
high.
mean,
Aim
we have no clue.
Yeah. I don't know. I know them to see them, but I don't know them. Nicholas, I know because I've talked to him once or twice.
Is that the
Yeah,
guy?
Nicholas, yeah,
He's the guy that wears
Nicholas,
he's the guy that wears the shorty shorts.
Okay.
Well, now I know who you're talking about. too.
Yes.
Yeah, I talk to him. I talk to him when I see him and stuff.
Yeah, he's a nice
Right.
guy. He
Yeah,
really is.
he's cool. He's cool. But yeah, he's like.
Yeah, but
he's
I mean,
right-
I
he's
come
right-
in for
he's right
7.
under me.
I have no idea. I
Yeah,
come back at 10:30. The only, I think I see Flip there, Wilson. Every once in a while, I see him.
Aging yourself with a Flip Wilson
Yeah.
reference.
That's the only way I remember some of the names.
Well, I started at Pitt in the city. My first 4 years were in the city.
Yeah.
I only know like I come in around, I leave around 7:00. I know this some
And
of the
back
6
then,
o'clock.
Mike
and
was the
7
hot
o'clock.
child in the
Yeah.
city.
I was the youngest one, so I knew all those city guys. I don't know anybody now.
Oh yeah.
I know none of them
Yeah.
except for the guys when I first started. They're still there,
Yep.
which
They-
there aren't many
Nope.
anymore.
They either aged out
Yeah.
or
retiring or quit.
or
Or got fired.
yeah.
Yeah. They aged out.
They aged
We
out.
don't need you anymore.
You're too old. Get out.
yeah. Yeah, we've had those. But yeah.
Most of the people walking around the terminal, I have no idea.
No.
Like a lot of the dock guys, I don't know their name.
No.
And I suck at names, so it's not saying
Nope.
much. But just I don't. I say hi to people. Hey.
Yeah, I
And
figure
that's
we
it.
all work together. You
Yeah.
know, we're all here together, so I can at least say hello.
But you assume,
Hello.
he's got a Pitt, Ohio shirt on. I don't
guess
think
he
the
works
guy
here.
he works for FedEx.
But when
Who knows?
when ECM was in our yard, we had all those drivers
Right.
Yeah.
walking around constantly. Like
He had no idea. who was
security
who.
is like not
Yeah.
a big. There's keys in every one of these trucks here.
Oh, there you go.
And
Let's
there's
just put that on the.
But I brought that
No,
up for
I totally agree.
years
You're
to
right.
everybody.
Yeah,
I
you're
mean, look
right.
what happened down in Baltimore. They
Yep.
stole how many
They
of those
stole it.
trucks?
Right.
Why are we? First of all, and now I guess it's
Yeah.
getting better. Some of them have the gates, so you got to like Harrisburg and Norristown. Like you
Norristown,
got to
yeah.
clock in with the
Yeah, we'll have that
Those
one year.
two.
yeah 1 year.
Once we
Those
get
two.
the new terminal put up.
Security
The
just doesn't seem to
office.
be a big thing with Pitt. And I never.
Well, they got a guard shack on the weekend. There's a guard in there.
yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
He got a little alarm thing that he put on the door, so just in case somebody open it. That's about it. You know what I mean?
I came on a Saturday because I forgot my phone in the
But
trash.
see,
It's
Central
years-
does that too. They leave
Yeah.
the keys in there. They
Yeah.
leave the keys
Well,
in
yeah,
there.
I mean,
I
think
think
every
that's
trucking
weekends.
company does.
It
They
makes
do.
sense to do
Yeah.
it, but it's like there should be a little more security there. Because I came in on a Saturday. This is years ago now. I left this is back when everybody you couldn't leave anywhere with your phone. It was I had a flip
Yeah.
phone.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, shit, in the truck. So my wife and I drove there. I knocked on the gate. The gate was open a little bit. I knocked. No, he wasn't there. He was doing his rounds. I walked in and went to my truck, got a phone. He sees me walking back out the gate, and he started freaking out. And I show
You
him
should
my
have played with him and said, "Start the car!"
start running. They saw me. But like that, I mean,
Yeah.
like,
No, you're right.
the security
I
seems
totally
very
agree.
lax, and
Yeah.
it's
No, but I'll tell you what. I was out at Harrisburg.
Oh, Pittsburgh. That's the other terminal that has the locky.
Oh
gate
yeah.
that you know of.
That I know of.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are
That I've
the
been
go-to.
to.
I was out at Harrisburg and I was in the parking lot. Yeah, do something for somebody,
Yeah.
and the freaking electric fence was on. Man,
Oh, that hurts.
oh,
Oh, you touched
I'm
it?
like, I didn't mean to touch it, but I
What were you doing?
I reached around the back of the car to get something.
How'd they get
And
that
it-
close to the electric fence?
Well, she parked right up to it, basically.
West Middlesex, you know where they put the trailers in the yard out by Wessex? You've been there? You've been
I've
there?
been there, but I
Like
it's
where
been
they
a while.
put the trailers and all
the one
along
right along the fence there.
the
right
fence
on
there.
front.
Right by the
sometimes
parking lot.
If they have the tandems all the way up on the trailers, that back of that trailer gets pretty far. I had no idea that this thing was electrified while business was being conducted.
Right.
Wow.
I'm going back there, and I went to it was
Check
give me
the
an
seal?
empty. No,
Yeah.
there was
And
no
check to make sure
no,
it was
Of course, you're
switched
checking the
out.
seal and making sure the lights were working.
Actually, I was checking to see if it was empty. So I opened it, I popped it open, and I look, and I just lost my footing. Well, I went back onto these wires. The scream,
like the Rambo scene.
the
Ah!
scream.
Yeah,
that-
it
no,
wasn't
it's not like that.
It wasn't that, but
I was not expecting it
It
because
would've
I didn't
been
think this thing
hilarious.
was on. I was like, I
that's the same thing I said. What the hell do we got the fence on for? We're all here.
and then I pull myself away. Well, then I slip again. I shock number 2.
Yeah.
And I was like, why is this thing on when we are parking trailers this close? I can see like over the weekend when no one's there,
Right.
electrify the sucker. I mean, it wasn't like it's gonna stop a pacemaker or anything, but it's a very uncomfortable.
Hilarious.
Because
Yeah.
the back of my head and my butt touched one of the wires, and it just shot right down my spine.
Connection.
Oh,
Yeah, because like I said, I reached
it
around
wasn't
and
the
my
low
elbow went back.
connection.
No. I walked up. Who the hell plugged the fence in?
Because I called Dean
Because the
next
front
day.
gate was open, so you think
It's off.
it's
Yeah.
got to be off, but no.
Connection's broken,
Nope,
right?
nope.
'Cause I called Dean the next day. I said, "This is wrong. You shouldn't have this thing." He's like, "No, they're always electrified when."
Then why? Then,
I mean, there's signs on it that say, but I just assumed. I know you're not supposed to assume, but
Right.
if we're parking a trailer this far away from it,
yeah.
maybe we shouldn't be electrified. Because I
Or
don't-
maybe we shouldn't be parking the trailers that close to it.
But yeah, what happens if a trailer accidentally touches that? Does that create
that's a
the
good
connection?
I don't know.
It's a steel box.
Yeah.
Are we gonna like get out
grab a hold of the landing gear? Yeah.
playing a game of Operation, just hooking up to your truck?
Yeah. The lights. you get the ABS light lighting up on the trailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's nobody.
Javon's sitting here with stories to tell, and we're going off on.
Sorry.
No, y'all cool. Y'all cool.
Hey,
This is how it goes sideways.
Just a thought.
Go ahead, do it.
We can get 2 shows out of
All right,
this.
well
I
then
can
do
stop
it.
right now.
Stop it
'cause we
right
just-
now.
So let's sign out.
All right, goodbye.
We hope everybody
Thanks for
enjoyed the
listening.
show. If you enjoyed the show, Shipper, what can they do? Mike, tell them what they can do.
They can share the show.
Share the show. Share it with everybody you know.
Everyone.
Shipper,
Buy me a
What?
coffee.
Oh,
Keep the hammer down.
Hammer Lane. Have a good night.
Have a good night.